Hello everyone, Gaara here and welcome to a brand new review video. Today I'm going to talk about 5 more additional cards of the upcoming expansion, the Knights of the Frozen Throne. Without further ado, let's just jump right into it. The first one we have is Sindragosa. It is a 8 mana, 8/8 legendary dragon archetype, which is very cool to see because dragons died out a little bit once BlackRock rotated out from the standard format. Sindragosa has a battlecry effect, summon 2/0/1 frozen champions, and those have the definitely effect draw a random legendary or gain a random legendary. These minions can't attack, so you basically can kill them off with your own mage hero power, for example, and then whenever you do that you get a random legendary, which is an insane amount of value from one card. So basically 3 legendaries in one card, and you can just get Sindragosa again from these frozen champions. Someone calculated out that right now if the game doesn't get any additional dragons, you have a 53% chance to get Sindragosa from Netherspite Historian. So this is quite interesting, so you can get so many Sindragosas if you choose to play a dragon mage control deck. And it might be viable because we have seen a small spoiler of the upcoming Mage Hero card. Basically, after you play it, every elemental you play will have lifesteal, and so you will get, if you have a lot of life gain, you can play a greedy control deck. We are playing actually mage versions where we play Medivh already, and the cards like Alexstrasza, Pyroblast, so mage has a lot of tools to slow down the game. So maybe this card will actually see play. It is a very cool card regardless. The next card we have is the Muto Hexa. It is a 5 mana 2/7 shaman rare card. It has taunt, freeze, and a character damaged by this minion, which is, the stats are not that overwhelming, but it has taunt, and taunt is always a very cool effect. It doesn't have any archetypes, so you cannot really get this from like Stonehill Defender or Servant of Kalimos, but regardless, it has what I predicted in the previous video. It has the effect to freeze a character whenever this damages someone. So this minion has very cool synergy with the weapon, that whenever you freeze something and attack with the weapon, you just kill it. So maybe this will spawn a new freeze shaman archetype. I don't know yet. We really can't build or predict from just the 2 cards we've seen so far. If we get more cool cards that work with this really well together, then we might actually see this new archetype. I'm a little bit suspicious right now because it doesn't seem that powerful. It seems very gimmicky. Because these cards as a standalone are not good, and usually the way how Hearthstone works is the cards have to be good as a standalone for them to be viable in a competitive environment. But regardless, I'm not gonna be too pessimistic right now. I'm really looking forward to it. Taunt is good, freezing something is also pretty good, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The next card we have is the Cold Wrath. It is a mage common card actually. So we will see this quite often in Arena. A 3 mana 3/4 battlecry if an enemy minion is frozen, draw a card. So it is a well started minion with an upswing, and whenever we see cards like that, like Ravaging Ghoul for example, well started, very good upswing. Yeah, usually when we see such cards we always see them played at some point in some decks, and mage is actually great tools to freeze a character. And this card might actually make the 0 mana freeze something card playable, because you can play them at the same turn, and if you can just cycle the freeze card, it's always good to freeze something for free pretty much. So you play this, and then you play first you play the 0 mana spell to freeze something, and then you draw a card at the same turn. That's amazing. In an aggressive deck this fits really well. Iceland's unfortunately rotated out. But yeah, there's plenty of ways to freeze something. It's cool to have these synergies for freeze in mage specifically, so you can try to build these cool combos and utilize these cards. We had too few cards that benefit from something being frozen. There was only Shatter. but yeah, Shatter was too gimmicky, but oftentimes if you discover it from Primordial Glyph or get it from a Kabbalist Tome, you always find like some use for it. So this is gonna be cool. Drawing cards is very powerful in Hearthstone. So yeah, it's a pretty good card, will definitely see play in my opinion. The next card we have is another mage card. It's the Ghastly Conjurer. Battle Cry, add a mirror image spell to your hand, 4 mana, 2/6. I think this card's stats are unfortunately a little bit too weak that it sees any play. Mirror image is kinda okay to get. Obviously the first thing that comes to your mind is you can combine this with Archmage Antonidas to get an additional fireball, and this card doesn't have taunt, but the mirror image does have taunt. And obviously another thing that comes to mind is the probably boost. I have a guess that they are trying to make some of the less playable quests more playable with additional cards. For example, the Warlock class has gotten a card that synergizes with the discard mechanic, maybe to push the Warlock quest. This card gives you a mirror image, which we know a card that was randomly generated, and which card benefits from that? Yes, exactly, the Mage Quest. So this is another card that you can play in the Mage Quest. It's a defensive card. It's much better than playing cards like Kabbalist Tome because it's very, very slow. So you have something defensive and then you have taunts to slow down the game. This card will definitely see play in Quest Mage, I believe. Just because Quest Mage didn't have that many options to choose from, you basically just played all the cards that give you a spell. Yeah, I think this is a very niche card that will see play in decks like Quest Mage. And the final card here, Bring It On, the Warrior spell, gain 10 armor. And we arrived at the final card, the Warrior spell they announced, Bring It On, gain 10 armor, reduce the cost of minions in your opponent's hand by 2. A very cool card, and I'm very happy that they are printing more cards with a skill aspect included into them. You cannot just spam this card on turn 2 because it can win you the game, but it can also lose you the game. Imagine you play against an aggro druid, you play this on turn 2 and then suddenly he spams his entire hand, plays 3 mana Bitter Tide Hydras. Pretty bad. Right now most of the aggressive decks are very board centric, like Murloc Paladin, Token Charm and Aggro Druid, but there's decks still in the game that go for reach, decks like Pirate Warrior and Secret Mage, so against them this card is really, really good. But yeah, against those flood decks this card is a really double-edged sword. If you play this too early it can just lose you the game. So I really liked the design of this card, and I think it's a good and definitely viable card, but you have to use it carefully. So this is it for today's review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, if you haven't subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you do so. And yeah, I will be back tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching, and peace.